Hi, I'm Danny, and today I'm turning Poppy Playtime characters into Monster High characters. I'm sure you've already heard of Poppy Playtime, especially after the recent release of the 5th chapter and all the discourse surrounding it. Yeah, Mark, I agree. But in case you haven't, let me quickly tell you everything you need to know for this video. And yes, I will spoil everything. Poppy Playtime is one of the most popular indie games in the mascot horror genre. It's about a former employee of Playtime Co., a huge toy manufacturer, who returns to the abandoned factory after receiving a mysterious message telling them that their co-workers are still trapped inside. Once they arrive though, they slowly uncover the truth of what really happened to their co-workers and the sick and twisted experiments that have been going on behind closed doors. The game is split into different chapters, each with their own main antagonist, some with secondary antagonists and even allies. The biggest foes you're facing in the game are the toys from the Bigger Bodies initiative. These are giant versions of Playtime Co.'s popular toys, created using living humans as a basis. These toys really reminded me of the different ghouls from Monster High. Monster High is a fashion doll brand from the 2010s, created by Hasbro. It's about the children of famous monsters and creatures, like Dracula, werewolves, Frankenstein, etc. Along with the toys, Monster High had a 2D-based web show, as well as a plethora of 3D animated movies. The style of the first generation was always more alternative and fashionable. The ghouls always rocked the coolest looks. Later, the second generation tried to be more cutesy and childlike, which kinda sucked. Although this generation didn't last that long, it had at least one relevant movie, but I don't know if it ever went beyond that, and it kind of killed the whole franchise. After years, Monster High returned with its latest generation. It tried to incorporate different styles and body types. Here the fashion is very hit or miss, but this generation at least got a new 3D animated TV show to go along with it. Sadly, it wasn't renewed for a third season. There were also 2 live-action movies for the third generation, which have the same characters but with different relationships and stories to the show and dolls. Now that you know what we're working with, let me set the scene for our own scenario. This is Playtime Academy, a school whose students are all different creatures who have been orphaned or abandoned. The headmaster, Elliot Lavender, wanted to create a place where all monsters can feel at home, embrace their own skills and live in peace. But not everyone gets along just as much as he would like. Let's talk about our first ghoul, the titular Poppy. In the game, Poppy is our main ally, at least for the most part. Since chapter 2, she has helped us many times, but she doesn't tell us the full story, and even sabotages our escape at one point. She might have been the one who wrote us the letter, guiding us to the factory, hoping for us to destroy the prototype, the main antagonist of the game. As a human, Poppy was the daughter of Elliot Ludwig, the founder of Playtime Co., and the reason why the Bigger Bodies even exist. Her death caused her father to experiment, wishing to bring his daughter back. At first I wasn't quite sure what type of monster I wanted Poppy to be. My first thought was a haunted doll or a ghost, but this concept could be applied to pretty much every single one of the game's toys. I wanted something that is more unique to each character. In the end, there was one aspect of the Poppy doll itself that intrigued me the most. Her poppy-scented hair, which helps children fall asleep. That settled it for me. I decided I want Poppy to be a plant monster, like Ivy McFlytrap. Only in this case, she's based on the poppy flower. I didn't want to stray away too much from Poppy's normal style, so she's based on Lolita fashion. Her short blue dress fits the aesthetic of Lolita dresses, which are inspired by Victorian and Rococo fashion, just a lot cuter. To show off her monster features, she has a red gradient on her limbs and a leaf and vine pattern on her legs and arms, though the latter is hidden by her sleeves. Now, let me tell you more about her story while I finish up this artwork. Elliot Lavender, a lavender-placed plant monster, always wanted to bring joy into this world, especially to all the little monsters who don't have a place where they belong. To help make a difference, and because he didn't have a family of his own, he adopted a little plant monster girl named Poppy. She became his everything, and finally gave him purpose. Under his care, she has grown into a bright and flourishing young girl. But Elliot couldn't shake the feeling that he could help so many more. He wanted to give a home to more children and teens and give them the education and resources they need to blossom. He adopted another child after Poppy and started the Young Geniuses program to give young and bright monsters the resources to improve their skills. Over the years, the program grew bigger and bigger, and he ended up founding Playtime Academy. Elliot cares for all his children, although Poppy is his favorite and gets pampered the most, much to the dismay of her sibling. Poppy acts like Elliot's star child and is the face of the academy. She is always very put together and cares for her appearance, but her intelligence and charisma aren't anything to scoff at either. Because of her status at the school, she's generally a very well-known monster. As a plant monster, she can make little poppy flowers grow and create pollen that smells just like them. This also has a calming effect to anyone who smells it. This is Poppy Lavender, and here she is, all done. Huggy Wuggy is the main antagonist of Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 and a big hairy blue creature with long limbs. I immediately knew he needed to be turned into a Bigfoot monster. Marisol Coxey and Abby Abominable were the biggest inspirations here. Just like the Huggy toy, I wanted him to be very tall and have a more square head with lots of hair poofing out to the sides. For style, I wanted it to be very kidcore, and I took some inspirations from the Decora Harajuku style. So lots of bright clashing colors. But I didn't put just as much accessories on him as the Decora style usually has. Fitting for his toy form and the fashion, I stuck with mostly blues and added yellow and red as secondary colors. Now let me tell you more about Hugh Wuggy, or as his friends call him, Huggy. He is a big sweetheart and a very well-known student in the school, as he acts as a guide and sort of greeting committee of the student council for new arrivals. He even wears a little bow tie to show how professional he is. Huggy is very sweet and caring, thus his nickname. It's great that he is such a sweetheart, because he isn't really the brightest student and quite gullible. He will quite literally believe everything you tell him with a straight face. But fortunately, he has his dearest friend, Cassandra Missy, by his side. She is always there to help him see what is true and what is not. He cares for her the most. Like a lot. He doesn't want to spend a day without her. Lately though, his fellow student council members have been keeping him away more and more. The student council president especially has a lot of new tasks for him. Huggy doesn't really understand the purpose of all these extra tasks. But he is always happy to help. And after all, we're talking about the student council president here. They couldn't possibly have any ulterior motives in mind, right? Here's Hugh Wuggy, all finished. Mummy Longlegs is the antagonist of Chapter 2, a big spider-like creature that is based on the Betty Spaghetti dolls. She's very plasticky and shiny. Her role in the Playtime Co. factory was to lead the children through the game station, where their skills are tested in various exercises. She cares very deeply for the orphans and despises how cruelly they've been treated. As she was one of them when she was still human, she knows exactly what is happening to them. Of course, in our setting, she has to be a spider monster like Widona Spider. I wanted her style to be very sporty, but still cunty. So she has to be glammed up as a monster. I had ideas for a bunch of different outfits, but I eventually had to settle for just one. This shiny gymnastic suit with short shorts and an off-the-shoulder top showed off his sportiness and glam the most. I took inspiration from 80s workout clothes, but made them look more like a 90s and early 2000s fashion. I added a bunch of accessories and a single-leg spiderweb pantyhose. His shoes were giving me a hard time though. Monster High shoes are always so iconic and over the top, so these basic sneakers I wanted to give her before weren't enough. So what about boots? Oh god, no. This is just fugly. Ugh. Okay, let's take a step back and look at what type of shoes Generation 1 Laguna has. Ah yes, cute sandals. I can work with that. The only good part about the boots was the spider detail in the back, so I'm just gonna move it to the front and perfect. These remind me of Laguna's shoes from the Generation 3 TV show now. Now let me tell you more about Marnie Longlegs. She is the it girl at Playtime Academy. As soon as she enrolled, she quickly gained a lot of popularity because of her beautiful looks, her strong presence and her caring and helpful personality. She's the kind of girl that adopts the quiet students who are socially awkward. Marnie is a prolific dancer, making her the obvious choice for head cheerleader. Additionally, she leads a dance and aerobics workout club and posts her classes online. As you can see, she has quite a lot on her hands. Good thing she has multiple pairs of them. But she couldn't bear letting any of her fellow monster friends down. She cares deeply for each and every one of them and loves helping people. As long as they're being nice, of course. She's somewhat like Headmaster Lavender in that regard, but unlike him, Marnie speaks her truth and doesn't try to pander to everyone. Some dislike her sometimes rude and snide comments, while others admire her confidence. The student council president has asked Marnie to join the student council many times because of her popularity and hands-on mentality, but she cannot be bothered. She already has enough on her web as is. Plus, she doesn't really care too much for the president and his weird ideas. Here's the finished design for Marnie Longlegs. Catnap is the antagonist of the third chapter of Poppy Playtime. He's based on the smiling critter toy of the same name, which was discontinued because the red gas it produced caused children to have horrible nightmares and hallucinations. The bigger body's Catnap has weirdly long limbs which are crudely stitched on. When Playtime Co. was still operating, he was used to put the orphans in the factories or an orphanage to sleep with his red gas and keep watch. He is the most faithful follower of the prototype, which we can witness firsthand as we can see him praying to a self-built shrine. In his chapter of the game, we see him devotedly fulfilling the orders of the prototype, making him one of the most ruthless bigger bodies. Of course, Catnap has to be a werecat, like Torelei. I really wanted to focus on his artistic side with this design, so his style is based on old fashion, with all the alterations and accessories. To mimic the height difference of the smiling critter toy to the bigger body Catnap, I kept him on the shorter side but let him increase his height with his tall platform boots. And now for the final time, let me introduce you to Kid Nap. He is an artist through and through, from altering his clothes to making thought-provoking statues and designing posters for the student council. His favorite medium to work with is spray paint, for which he even makes his own colors from various different flowers. He has even made a striking shade of red from Poppy's flowers. Though he has to be careful when using it. Kid recently discovered that the concentrated poppy essence in the spray can be used as kind of a sleeping gas or sedative. With the president being his best friend, there was no doubt for Kid that he would also join the student council. He admires him quite a lot, and he always has his best interests in mind. Thus, Kid always gives it his all to keep the president at the top of the academy and help make all of his dreams come true. Also, a lot of his artworks depict the president because he is his muse. Okay, Kid might be a little obsessed with him. And finally, here is Kidnap's design. I hope you all enjoyed watching me come up with these designs. Which one is your favorite? Are there any other Poppy characters you'd like me to turn into Monster High characters? Tell me in the comments down below. With this video complete, I can now put another stamp on my card. And here's the progress on the other ones. Did you notice I made new stamps? You can find today's illustrations as well as all my other artworks on my social media, linked below. If you want to watch the speed paints without any commentary, check out my YouTube Shorts or TikTok. Thanks for watching, until next time!